What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Steel Curtain Call, a show here on YouTube and or Facebook, depending on where you're watching us from, dedicated completely to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am your host. My name is Patrick. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. And remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Facebook page if that is where you're watching. That's going to make me so happy. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You are recording an episode for us on Thanksgiving Day? You're such a nice person. Technically, you're right. I am recording this on Thanksgiving Day. It is Thanksgiving. But if you guys think that I'm recording this instead of going and having dinner with my family, you are horribly mistaken. Would I throw you guys under the bus for Thanksgiving dinner any day? Absolutely I would. I love you guys to death, but I don't think I love you that much. It is currently 8 o'clock in the morning as we record this. The big Thanksgiving meal is not until later in the afternoon, so I've got some time. So don't get too ahead of yourselves now. And just want to take the opportunity and say, from all of us here at the Steel Curtain Call, all of us being me, because it's just me, I hope you guys have a very, very, very happy Thanksgiving. To all of my Steelers family out there, everybody who embraces the black and gold, have a very good day, have a happy Thanksgiving, except for you Bengals and Ravens fans. I hope your turkey is absolutely dry, has no moisture in it whatsoever, and I hope your mashed potatoes are awful. You're probably wondering why I didn't include Cleveland Browns fans into that whole charade. Come on, you can't hate the cute little Cleveland Browns. I mean, yes, they're a division rival, but you can't hate the Browns. They haven't done anything to anybody. They're just the cute little Browns. Also, one little item of housekeeping I want to go ahead and get off. If you're watching the video on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching, if the camera angle seems like it's a little tilted, that is because my tripod is very screwed up right now. Don't panic, though. Amazon Prime is delivering me a new tripod via drone. Just kidding. I don't know if it's coming by drone, but I did order a new tripod on Amazon Prime. It's probably going to be here in the next few days. I think it said Friday is when it's going to be here, so just wanted to get that out of the way. If it seems a little tilted, it's because my tripod's messed up. I won't take the time to tell you how it got messed up. It's pretty funny, but it got messed up. So if you see a little tilt, that's why. Okay, let's not waste any time. We don't waste time here on the Steel Curtain Call. We're not about that. Let's talk about Week 12. The Pittsburgh Steelers will take on the Green Bay Packers at Heinz Field on Sunday Night Football. I got to say, I love all this primetime love we're getting lately. The Steelers obviously are coming off of the massive 40-17 win on Thursday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans, and we're kind of hoping that big offensive momentum can continue into this game. Now, just to go ahead and get one thing right off the bat before we dive right into our keys to victory, the Baltimore Ravens issued us a little bit of a challenge. So the Ravens actually just got done playing the Packers this past Sunday. They played at Lambeau Field. Not in Baltimore, at Lambeau Field, and they won 23-0. So I'm not trying to say that we have to shut them out in this game. It would be nice if we could. But if the Baltimore Ravens can beat them 23-0 in their house, we should be able to do even better at Heinz Field on Sunday Night Football. Now let's just go ahead and dive right into the keys to victory. Key to victory number 1 is no Aaron Rodgers. This is one of those games that if you looked at on the schedule at the beginning of the season or maybe during the offseason and you saw Week 12 versus Green Bay, you probably went, oh. But we don't have to say that anymore because Aaron Rodgers, thanks to Anthony Barr, has a broken collarbone. He's probably not going to be back for the rest of the season, or they're saying he may come back towards the end of the season. That's even if they make the playoffs for that matter. But long story short, he's not going to be available in this game. So the Packers' loss is the Steelers' gain. And I want to be very clear, I'm not saying that I'm glad he got injured. I hate when fans do that whole like celebrate when people get injured. I don't think you should do that. I think that's a really shady thing to do. All I'm saying is, does it benefit us that Rodgers is injured and isn't playing in this game? Absolutely. So we need to take advantage of that. In his place is a man named Brett Hundley out of UCLA. I believe this is his 3rd year in the league. I don't really know how else to say it. Brett Hundley has been awful. In the few games that he has played in, he has thrown 2 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He is also only averaging 156.7 passing yards per game. He's looked absolutely terrible. I took the time over the past couple of days to go back and watch these games on NFL Game Pass. He's just not very good. He makes poor decisions. His accuracy isn't there. He doesn't really do that well under pressure either. The guy's just struggling right now, so he really should pose no threat. On top of that, their offensive line is extremely weak. In the few games that Brett Hundley has played, he has already been sacked 17 times. Combine this with the fact that one of their starting offensive linemen, Justin McCray, went down in this past game against the Ravens. Yes, this should be a royal feast for the Steelers' pass rush. Keith Butler has been so creative with how he's brought pressure all year long. He's been relentless with it, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to get to Hundley and harass that O-line all game long. So Keith Butler, bring the pressure. Now, one thing I do want to go ahead and address, and this is something that nobody probably wants to hear, and at the end of the day, it's hard to shed too much light on this because of how the defense is playing as a whole. Guys, you can't complain too much about the way the Steelers defense has been this season. The Steelers are ranked in the top 5 in almost every category of defense this season. This defense has been absolutely tremendous. So I'm not going to hate on it too much, but there is one little area of concern that I have. Over the last several games, the Steelers secondary has been coming up with big plays, coming up with turnovers, yes, but they're allowing a lot of big passing plays down the field. It really started with the Detroit Lions game, I would say. Matthew Stafford absolutely had a field day with our secondary, and that continued into the Indianapolis Colts game, where we allowed 2 60-yard touchdowns in one game. And that further continued into the Tennessee Titans game on Thursday Night Football, where Rashard Matthews had a 75-yard touchdown, and then later on in the game, Delaney Walker had a 40-yard big pass downfield. Not for a touchdown, but still right over the middle of the field. Huge 40-yard gain for him. So, you know, again, it's hard to complain about it too much because the defense as a whole is playing well, but we are allowing a lot of big plays lately over the past couple of games, and it is starting to concern me. And maybe that's not entirely surprising. You don't have Joe Hayden right now. You don't have Mike Mitchell right now. The Steelers are a better team when those two guys are on the field, but even without those two guys, we shouldn't be allowing big plays like this. And the main reason that I'm bringing that up is because, one, I think it needs some light shed on it, but the Packers do have some field stretchers. First off, Devontae Adams. You got to keep in mind that he just got done having against the Ravens a 10-catch, 126-yard performance, so he can stretch the field. And obviously, we know what Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson can do. So the Packers, they do have some guys that can create some very big plays and take the top off of a defense. And right now, the Steelers are allowing that to happen. They have got to minimize these 3 guys. Moving on to the Packers' run game, you've got rookie Aaron Jones. Now, he also is not available in this game. He is going to be out 3 to 6 weeks with a knee injury, I believe. And that's very unfortunate for them because he was having a very, very, very solid season up until his injury. They don't have him in this game. What about running back Ty Montgomery? Well, Ty Montgomery right now is dealing with a rib injury. Now, it looks like he is going to be ready to go for Sunday, but he's not going to be 100%. So right now, their run game, they really don't have a run game to speak of right now. They're extremely banged up. The Steelers' defense should have no problem taking that aspect away. Further talking about these injuries to their defense, first off, defensive tackle Kenny Clark went down against the Ravens, and then you've got Clay Matthews who went down with a groin injury as well. And then you've got Kevin King, rookie cornerback Kevin King out of Washington, who, by the way, I was in love with. I didn't have the show created at this time, but there was another show I was doing at the time, and I actually wanted the Steelers to take Kevin King in the first round of the draft. I love that guy. Big, long, fast corner out of Washington, kind of that elite Washington secondary. They're really good at creating cornerbacks and safeties over there at the University of Washington, but I was a big fan of Kevin King. He actually is injured right now as well. Now, he's been playing through his injury, but he is not 100%. He has been struggling a lot. So their defense is very, very, very banged up right now. We're kind of going back to talking about the Lions game. You know, this is one of the big keys to victory we talked about in that game, was that the Lions were extremely beat up in that game. Well, anytime you play a team who's got this amount of injuries, you have got to take advantage of that. Now, their secondary is ranked 18th in the NFL in pass defense, and don't get me wrong, they've got some solid guys back there. You've got Clinton Dix. I'm sorry, it's just, that's his name. Like, how... Oh, man. It's just really hard to say Clinton Dix with a straight face. But their secondary really shouldn't pose too much of a threat. They are ranked 21st in the NFL in interceptions. And before you completely crap on their secondary too hard, their pass rush has also been awful this season. They have not done a good job of getting to the quarterback, creating a lot of pressure. And one of the things that we talk about on this show often is that there is a true relationship between your pass rush and your secondary. If your pass rush is getting home, your secondary is going to play a whole lot better. And they haven't really done a good job of that this season. But outside of Clinton Dix, there's a lot of young guys in this secondary that are still trying to learn, trying to get acclimated. So there's been a ton of growing pains in that secondary this season. Then you've got their rush defense. Now, here's the thing. They're a lot more modest in their rush defense. They are currently ranked 10th in the National Football League, but they are allowing over 100 yards rushing per game. I guess the long story short of what I'm trying to say is their defense is just not that good. Across the board, they are struggling in almost every area. They've just been very inconsistent. The Steelers' offense should not have a very hard time in this game. To talk about the Steelers directly now going into this game, one thing I do want to go ahead and address is the no-huddle offense. We're all on cloud 9 right now after the big performance against the Tennessee Titans, and the Steelers predominantly passed in that game, and they went with no huddle. No huddle is something that we've been screaming about for a very long time. We've been wondering why there isn't more no huddle, and we finally used it, and look at the outcome. Here's what I do want to say, though. And some of you may disagree with me, and that's fine. You're entitled to disagree with me. But No huddle is something that we don't need to overuse. Do I think that the Steelers need to use the no huddle more? Absolutely, I do. But is it something that we need to rely on all the time? No, you don't want your offense to become too predictable. You know what I mean? I think one of the healthy things about using the no huddle every now and then is that it kind of gets defenses, it puts defenses on their toes. It's kind of a very unexpected thing. And yes, it works. It's very effective. I just don't think the Steelers need to use it every single game. You just don't want to get to the point where defenses know exactly what you're going to do. So, I mean, am I saying that they don't need to use it in this game? Of course not. I think no huddle, especially against this defense that is struggling and has so many injuries, no huddle would be very effective. I just don't want us to get to the point where we're doing it every single game and then it becomes not that big of a surprise anymore. One of the things I think the Steelers really should do in this game is I think a smart game plan would be to come out running the football, not only because of some of these injuries they have up front, but Le'Veon Bell has got to be fresh right now. The Steelers did not really use Le'Veon Bell that much in the Titans game. The Steelers came out in that game and they wanted to run no huddle. They wanted to pass the football to adjust to Keith Butler's defense and Dick LeBeau's defense. And Le'Veon Bell was not really a big part of the game plan. So coming into this game, he's got to feel fresh. He's got to feel ready to go. I think because of the decreased workload they gave him against Tennessee, they should really hand the ball off to him a lot in this game. The other thing I kind of want to say is that I want the Steelers to come out and crush the Green Bay Packers in this game. I want them to absolutely destroy them. Number one, because we should. The Packers are not that good of a team. Number two, because you're at home, and the Steelers do play pretty well in primetime when they're at home. But number three, one of the frustrating things about being a Steelers fan over the last several years is that the Steelers, they had this tendency to have really, really, really big wins, these really big, exciting wins, and then come out the very next week and just flop. We have got a ton of momentum right now. The offense finally woke up. They finally had the game that we all know that they could have, and I want this momentum to continue. I don't want them to slow down right now. I'm tired of the Steelers being, the Steelers over the past several years have predominantly been a very good team. There's no doubt about that, but they've also been kind of an inconsistent team. I want the Steelers to put all that behind them and become the dominant team that they know they can be. We know what this team's capable of. I just think at times they have trouble putting all the pieces together. It's time to stop that. Embrace the dominant team that you can be. Let's crush the Packers. Also, we talked about this on the last episode. When you look at the Steelers' schedule remaining, it's just not that bad of a schedule at all. Outside of the New England Patriots game, we're going to play some bad football teams. So I want the Steelers to become a dominant team. Let's crush these bad teams. Let's show the league who we are. To close it out, one thing I do want to talk about is I want to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster very briefly. If you guys didn't hear over the past couple of days, he has a hamstring injury. Now, the good news is that it is a small hamstring injury, but if I'm going to give you guys my take on it, I am worried about it. I am very, very, very worried about it. I know it's listed as a small hamstring injury, but the only word I needed to hear in that injury report was hamstring. Hamstrings are very, very, very fragile. It takes nothing to tear those things. You look at players who tear their hamstrings, they don't have any lingering problems. It can just happen. You can extend your leg the wrong way, you can put too much pressure, and a healthy hamstring will tear. Well, he has a small hamstring injury, so that thing is very, very fragile right now. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but am I worried? Yes, I am. The Steelers need to be very, very careful with him. And I know this may sound controversial, but I would be okay if Juju missed a little bit of time. If he were to miss this game, I want him available for the New England Patriots game, of course, but if he were to miss this game, I wouldn't hate that. I think against a struggling Packers defense, guys like Brown, guys like Bryant, could get the job done. It's just hamstring injuries, man, are nothing to play around with. The Steelers need to be very, very careful with how they use him here over the next couple of weeks. All right, guys, I think that's all I have to say. I don't really feel like talking anymore. That is my preview show. Like I said, Steelers need to come out in this game and absolutely crush the Packers. I don't see any reason why we should not. But that's all from me. What do you guys think? What are you guys' biggest keys to victory? I want to hear from you. Also, really quickly, want to thank you guys. The channel has really been growing like crazy over the past couple of weeks. The subscribers continue to go up. The views continue to go up more on each video we post. And that is all thanks to you guys. So I really, really, really appreciate that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Like I said, I hope you guys have a very good day. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And remember to follow us on Twitter. We are at SCurtainCall33. Remember to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Steel Curtain Call. And we will be back here next Monday. I hope it's next Monday. We do play on Sunday Night Football, and the Sunday night games are a little tough. They're fun, but they're a little tough because they're so late at night, and then the next day you're scrambling, trying to rewatch the film and trying to react to it. So it'll either be up late Monday night or early Tuesday morning. we'll see how it goes. But either way, we will be back next week with our recap show. Until then, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Good day.